And a good Saturday morning to you. Welcome once again to Health Matters with Dr. Jim Warner of Warner Chiropractic in Rockford, Illinois. And it's always such an easy thing to talk with Dr. Warner. There's absolutely no stress involved whatsoever.
Hey, that's good, Fred. Today we are going to talk about stress.
Oh, no.
You're either experiencing stress, Fred, in your life, or you're the source of stress in someone else's life. Had you ever thought of that?
Well, it's probably true, but I think all of us get stress at least to some degree, right?
We do, and probably if we asked our spouses, they might say it was that we were the source of stress and not the recipient.
Your wife has told me that more than once.
Oh, boy. But don't tell anybody, okay?
Oh, all right.
All right, we'll keep that secret.
I won't do that.
All right. We are going to talk about stress today, Fred. And stress is not all bad. There is some good stress. And for instance, you're sound asleep in the morning, and all of a sudden that alarm clock goes off, and you're going, oh, no, I wanted to sleep in today, but you know you had to go to work. So, in effect, there was stress there. It woke you up, but yet we might say it was good stress because it made you do something that ultimately resulted in less stress. So there are good forms of stress that maybe motivate us to move in a certain direction. But today we're primarily concerned with the bad effects of stress and how it affects your health.
And, of course, if you're mentally stressed, even not even talking about physically, it can affect you physically if you are feeling emotional stress.
Absolutely. I think that's probably, when we think about stress, most people think that it's mental stress that we're talking about, and we will talk about that. But there are other forms of stress, too. You've got as you said, the emotional stress. There's relational stress. There's financial stress. That all plays on your emotions or your mental state. But there are physical stresses also. There's poor posture, maybe not getting enough sleep, or maybe not enough exercise, or maybe the wrong type of exercise. There's physical type stresses, maybe what you do on the job, a certain procedure that you do, or a certain machine that you work at, or a computer keyboard, whatever it might be. There are physical stresses. And then there are chemical stresses. And that can be drugs that you might take. It might be alcohol that stresses your body, tobacco, sugar can do this, high cholesterol, that would be stress on your body. And then also a type of physical stress would be temperature stress. You might get cold, you might get hot in your environment, and then that adds to the other stresses. And all stress is accumulative. In other words, if you got a little bit of mental stress, that you might be able to handle that, and you might get a little bit of physical stress, and that is difficult. But then maybe you get too much sugar in your diet, and then now that might be the straw that broke the camel's back. Or it might be that you're doing pretty well, but you're waiting at a traffic light, and your air conditioning is not working in your car, and then it gets real hot, or maybe your heater's not working and it gets real cold, and then finally you snap. I mean, that was the last straw. So all these forms of stress, when you put it together, has a composite picture that might not be very good for you.
If your health is getting poor and you're not sure why, I imagine it would behoove you to find out what it is that's stressing your system.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't think about that, Fred. There are basically 7 symptoms of stress that I'd like to maybe go over here a little bit. 7 symptoms. In other words, if you're exhibiting one of these 7 symptoms, that's a sign that your body is breaking down somewhere, that physically or mentally. And the first one would be tension or stress-related tension, or stress, tension, headaches. Okay, a lot of times people are having headaches, and they might go to the medicine cabinet and take their Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever they're taking to treat their headaches, and the headaches are really a sign of stress somewhere else in the body.
So you're, again, treating the symptoms.
You're treating the symptom. You're not getting to the cause of the problem. Fatigue, tiredness, A lot of times people are tired, and so what do? They might drink more coffee. They might take these energy drinks that you can get in the station now, 5 hours of energy,
right,
or whatever, or extra sugar in their diet, and they're thinking, well, I need to get this pickup. Well, the problem is your body is breaking down. It's not in a healthy state, and again, like you said, treating the symptom and not the cause of the problem. Pain anywhere in the body, that is a sign that there's some type of stress there. And so we need to take a look at that. Digestive disturbance, that's a big one. A lot of times people have problems with digestion. We've talked about this in the past. When your emotions are in play, it causes your body to make maybe too much or too little acid in your diet, in your digestive system. Difficulty sleeping, that's a sign of stress. A lot of times people have certain things that are just preying on their mind so much that even when they go to sleep, they'll wake up because they're not able to sleep because their subconscious mind is still carrying the stress.
And as you say, it's cumulative. One thing leads to another. Then you get physically run down, and you've had the emotional problems weighing on your mind, and then it affects your body as well.
And then just not getting a proper sleep is going to add to your stress level because, again, it's physical stress. Irritability, that's a big one. When you're irritable, that's a sign that there's something not right there. Allergies and sinus trouble. A lot of times people don't think about that, but there's a high correlation of sinus and allergy issues with stress because stress affects your stress gland or your adrenal gland, and then that can cause you to be unable to cope with allergies. And then the sinus, they found, is closely related to your stomach. And so stomach stress, sinus-related issues, sometimes you fix the stomach problem and the sinus problems go away.
That's interesting.
So those are the 7 signs that your body is actually breaking down. Now, we could also say, Fred, that all disease is from stress.
Ultimately.
Mm-hmm. So you might say, well, somebody was working around a certain chemical or maybe asbestos for a long period of time, and there was stress going on the body from a chemical standpoint that affected them physically, and then it might have been many years later that the physical symptoms started to show, and it was from a chemical source earlier than that. So we can say heart disease might be due to stresses, and they found that's true. People under a lot of stress are more likely to get a heart attack. Well, why is that? Because that mental stress affects the body so that there's physical stress. You might have a heart attack, which would be an ultimate sign of physical stress, but it could have been due to the diet, it could have been chemical factors, it could have been mental factors, it could be all these things put together that resulted in that. So cancer, there are certain cancer-causing chemicals or changes in the body from the result of stress.
There are a lot of pitfalls along the way in life, and you have to deal with them. And what I hear you saying is prevention is worth a pound of cure. I know that chiropractic can help realign, the body, the musculature, or the spine,
physical aspect,
the physical side of it, and that will help you to get back on track. But you need to prevent the stress or mitigate it where you can.
Well, people come in to see me because their back hurts, or maybe some of these things that we mentioned: the headaches, the stomach upset, the irritability, the sleeping problems, the fatigue. They'll come to the chiropractor for that, and we need to find out what is causing this. Now, to treat just the physical thing, let's say you just get chiropractic adjustments and you start feeling better and your body works better, your nervous system is working better. Well, that might help you cope with the relational problem you might be having. It might help you cope with some of these other things. Maybe you won't need to take the drugs and then you'll cut back on the chemical stress. So by treating the physical aspect, you help the other things also, because when you lower one area of stress, the whole stress level goes down and the body will be healthier. However, maybe we have to deal with some of these emotional things. Maybe that's a good time to talk to people about their faith in Jesus Christ and maybe plant some seeds there.
Right, and of course, the spiritual side is very important.
Yeah, and frequently, I would say, maybe not daily, but frequently, I have patients that just say, I'm having a problem with a certain area, and then I'll say, well, do you want to pray about it? Or yesterday, someone said, Dr. Warner, could you pray for this with me? And then we're going after the emotional, the mental side of this. People start having confidence that God is going to move in their life. That lowers that mental stress. They'll feel better physically,
right?
And it's just a chain reaction. So sometimes we treat one area and it affects the health in all those areas.
I know you have a survey or a questionnaire, too, that can help people kind of narrow down where the problem is at.
Yes, I've got what we call the stress survey. If someone would like to contact our office, just call us and say, I would like to have the stress survey mailed to me. We'd be glad to send that to them. And what it is it shows the different symptoms of stress, what it might be caused from, and then how you might be able to approach this. So it's a nice little survey. It just gives us an idea of what's going on, and we can send that to anybody that requests it.
And there's no charge for the survey?
There is no charge for this stress survey.
All right. And how do people get in touch with you at Warner Chiropractic?
Well, there's a couple different ways. They can call us, and that would be 815-398-8111, 815-398-8111, or they can contact us on the web, warnerchiro.com.
That's very simple. Well, good words today, a lot of wisdom, and people can find out more by getting in touch with Warner Chiropractic. Thank you so much, Dr. Jim.
Thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.
You too. That'll do it for Health Matters Today.